And today our guest critic, sitting in for me, is Isa Goldberg. And Isa is a very dear friend in the sense that we've been on the drama desk together for, is it 20 years now, Isa? It's been forever. Okay. And not only is Isa a board member and the former president of the drama desk, she's also a member of the Outer Critic Circle. And she is a writer and reviewer for theaterlife.com. But she's also a working actress who just got back from Atlanta, where she starred in her 9th or 10th film, we're not quite sure, called The Lady Makers, which shot in Atlanta. I'm excited to pieces over this. Tell us a little bit about the film, or whatever you can tell us.
Sure, yeah. So the movie is about 3 wealthy Jewish sisters who decide to help inner city young women. So that's basically the narrative.
Okay, so that was one of the ideas, The Lady Makers, the title. But the title does give a lot of different possibilities just in and of itself. And you did tell me that it jumps possibly generations, so that sounds really interesting. Today we're going to review, or you're going to review, LACKAWANNA BLUES, starring, written by and directed by Ruben Santiago-Hudson, a very favorite play of mine. And I'm going to cut out now. Let the two of you talk about it. I'm going to come back for a little jump at the end.
Well, I think most of us are familiar with Ruben Santiago-Hudson from his association with August Wilson as an actor, a director, an adapter in plays like Jitney, Ma Rainey, 7 Guitars. But this is his chance to act, write, and direct for himself. This is LACKAWANNA BLUES, basically an autobiographical show of his life growing up and a tribute to the woman who raised him, Rachel Crosby, who it was better known as Nanny. And she not only raised him, she raised a whole community. This was an amazing, kind, generous woman. She had been working as a maid in Lackawanna, New York. She decided she did not like her situation, so she struck out. She opened a boarding house. She opened a second boarding house. She had a jitney service. And she served the community, and throughout it, she reached out to people. She brought Black people from up south into the North where they could find jobs, where they could have lives. It's a beautiful tribute, and he not only impersonates her and his younger self, but all the people, all the eccentrics who stayed in her community house. And it's just him and a guitar accompaniment, that's Junior Mack. And it's a beautiful intermissionist 90-minute show.
Well, Charles, I think you hit the nail on the head when you described what he's doing on stage. He's playing all these other characters. It's an interesting solo show because the central character is not the actor or the subject of the autobiography himself. The subject is all of those people in his life who helped him become who he is. And that story of a very loving matriarch is dear to me at the moment because it's the subject of The Lady Makers. So I was particularly inspired to see LACKAWANNA BLUES for the first time and found it very inspiring and uplifting and lots of fun. And I also appreciate that as an actor and a director, Ruben Santiago-Hudson has worked with August Wilson throughout his life. And the play that he writes, LACKAWANNA BLUES, demonstrates a lot of what Wilson looked for as a playwright. The simple humanity of these folks, brought together in a boarding house, or could be at a cab stand, or, wherever. But it's the characters who are perhaps weird to us, become very colorful, which is also, I think, a part of Wilson's craft.
Well, I think the important thing is he respects them, but he is not afraid to show their eccentricities on stage and to occasionally play it for laughs. The humanity of the people comes out, but also these, shall we say, we're flawed people, or maybe human people, is the best. And he shows them warts and all. And it's a beautiful result. We get a good sense of who these people were. We get a good sense of who this community was. Occasionally, he'll pick up a harmonica, which he plays very nicely. I'm actually sorry we didn't have a little more of that. Mostly, it's just this Valentine to the people he grew up with. Maybe we should call them the gentleman makers.
Yeah, he has also, in addition to having a great command of language and employing the sensuality of language very much to his own benefit here, he also has the gift of creating physical life for these characters. He describes a woman who's kind of overweight with large hips by bobbing his head. And the picture is so completely intuitive and strikes a chord instantly. Or he talks about I think he's talking about himself, describing someone sort of wide-eyed and stung. He stands there, looking, verbal description is like a Tootsie Roll Frankenstein, but the sort of, 64-year-old man looking like a slightly plump Tootsie Roll with such piercing eyes it's quite a picture.
It's a short show. It's 90 minutes, no intermission, which I think is just about the right length.
Oh, it's lovely. Very sweet 90 minutes. Yeah.
Does this reflect your experience, Leslie, what you saw? How long ago was it? What did he do this?
It was exactly the same show. It was directed by Loretta Greco, again, 20 years ago down at the Public. And I remember walking away elevated. And again, I was a lot closer to my own acting career at that point than I am now, many years past that. But I thought, what a stupendous acting job this was. And of course, Charlie, you've done 2 solo shows, so I'm sure, connect to that. I don't know if you've ever done any solo work, but there's something very special about being the only person on the stage, whether you imitate anyone or present anyone or not. I wanted to show you this, which is, I don't know if you can get a close-up of this, I'm going to put it right up on the camera. This is Lackawanna Blues, the movie. The movie had everybody who was anybody, directed by George C. Wolfe, who was an original producer on the play itself. Halle Berry is also a co-producer on this film. Again, 90 minutes, but completely peopled by all the people he talks about. So, except for the 3-legged dog and the one-eyed cat, I think everybody else is in the show. And Jimmy Smits, Lou Gossett, Jeffrey Wright and his wife Carmen Ejego. It was done with a full orchestra led by Mos Def, who was kind of channeling his inner Cab Calloway. And it was a brilliant. It's not a character who was in the stage production, but a wonderful creation. So this is a play that stood up to a single person performing. It stood up to a complete cast. Esapatha Murkison won the Golden Globe, the Emmy, and the SAG Award for playing Nanny. And if you haven't seen it, you can see it free. It's on YouTube. Watch it. Because even if you've seen the play, to see it come to life that way, there's just a magical thing that happens between you and that creation. I just wanted to say that it's in my all-time top 20 plays that I've ever seen. Now, Charlie, explain the programs and the play.
Well, 1 to 5 playbills. 5 means you really liked the show, and 1 means you really didn't. So, Isa?
I love the show. I'd give it a 4.5. I'm very stingy with 5s. But I really did love the show.
I also enjoyed the show. I'm going to give it 4 and definitely recommend it. Isa, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope we'll have you back.
Nice to see you. Good to see you, Leslie. Take care.
You're a breath of fresh air to me, boy, and we gonna always be together. 'Cause you, my baby. We straight? That's just who she was. Well done.